Hi, boys and girls. Well, I hope you have been enjoying the stories that we have been sharing from the Spark Bible. I hope all of you are looking at your Bibles and maybe you're even reading some stories with your mom and dad or a big brother or a big sister. Or maybe you're even reading them by yourself. Wow. Well, you know my name is Miss Vicki and I read stories all the time during the Quest program. And today, Mr. Roger, who also works at the Quest program, is videotaping me, as he has done for all of these other stories. So, let's see what today's story is. If you open your Spark Bible to page 140, you will find today's story if you would like to follow along. The name of the story is Elijah and the Widow. Elijah was a prophet. God helped him show and tell others about God. One day God said, "Pack your things, Elijah. It's time to move to a new town. I have told a widow there to feed you. I will make a miracle." It was not a good time to move. Rain had not fallen for many, many days, and the sun was hot and the earth was dry. Elijah didn't have any friends in the new town. But he listened to God and he went to the new town anyway. When Elijah finally got to the town, he was thirsty. Just then he spotted a woman. Could this be the widow God had told him about? "Excuse me, ma'am. Could you please bring me a drink of water?" The kind woman hurried to get water. Oh, Elijah's tummy growled, grumble, grumble, rumble, rumble. He remembered that God had said the widow would feed him. He called after her, "Excuse me, ma'am, could you please bring me a nibble of bread to eat?" The woman stopped in her tracks. She turned to face Elijah. The widow had sad eyes. "I'm sorry, sir. I don't have any bread," she sighed. "The last of my oil and the flour that I have will only make one biscuit. My son and I are going to split it as our last meal. We have no other food." She started to cry. "Dry your tears," Elijah said. "God will make a miracle for you. Bake the bread and share it with me. God promises that your flour and oil will not run out." The widow mixed and kneaded. Do you know what kneading is? If you were making homemade bread, sometimes you get the dough all together and then you have to push it down with your hands. That's what kneading is. Just like this. You roll it over and you push it down with your hands. So the widow mixed and kneaded and baked loaf after loaf of bread. Her jar of flour and the jug of oil made plenty of food for Elijah, herself, and her son. God's promise was kept. It was a miracle. My goodness, this makes me think about our food pantry. Don't you feel good when you bring canned goods or other non-perishable, that means things that won't spoil, items to the Loaves and Fishes food pantry here at Newlandsburg Church? Maybe you can be just like the widow and share food with some people who don't have any. Hello, boys and girls. Well, we're still reading in the Old Testament. Today we are on page 144 in your Spark Bible, if you would like to follow along. The name of today's story is Elisha Feeds 100. The prophet Elisha worked for God. He gave the people messages from God. Elisha prayed for people and helped them give their offerings to God. A man went to see Elisha. "I hope Elisha will help me," the man thought. He was carrying a special bag. The bag was special because he used it to carry his offering to God. Inside the bag were 20 loaves of bread. The bread was made from the first grains of barley that were grown in the man's field. The man walked up to Elisha and gave Elisha the bag. "This is my offering for God," the man said. Elisha picked inside the bag. When he saw what was inside, Elisha said a surprising thing. "Take this bread and give it to the people to eat." The man looked confused. He thought he was bringing his bread for God. "Give it to the people?" he asked. "There are 100 people waiting to eat. How can 20 loaves of bread feed 100 people?" Elisha repeated what he had said a bit louder. "Take this bread and give it to the people to eat." The man still did not understand. He frowned at Elisha and he shook his head. And when Elisha saw the look on the man's face, he reminded the man of God's promise. God promised to take care of us. God will give us enough food to eat. We will even have leftovers. The man finally listened to Elisha. Carefully, he opened the bag and gave the people the bread. He waited. Would there be enough? Could all 100 people eat? Yes, all 100 people ate bread until they were full. When they were through, the man helped clean up, and then he noticed a wonderful thing. There were leftovers, just like Elisha had said. My goodness gracious, here's a question. How much food do you think it would take to feed 100 people dinner at your house? Oh my, that would be a lot of food, wouldn't it? Hi, boys and girls. Well, today we are reading from our Spark Bible. And again, we are on page 148 if you would like to follow along. The name of today's story is Naaman is Healed. Naaman was in charge of a very big army for the king of a place called Aram. He was a big, strong man, and he was a very important man in his country. Sadly, Naaman had a disease called leprosy, which gave him painful sores on his body that would not go away. A young Israelite girl was a servant in Naaman's household and knew of a prophet named Elisha in her country who could heal Naaman's leprosy. When Naaman heard this, he asked the king if he could go to Israel to be healed. The king liked Naaman, so he told him that he could go. Elisha heard that Naaman was coming, so Elisha sent his messenger to Naaman and told him to go wash 7 times in the river to heal his leprosy. Naaman was angry. "Why didn't the prophet Elisha come here and heal me? I am an important man," he fussed and he fumed. "I could wash in the rivers of my own country. What's so special about this little river?" he demanded. "At least try," Naaman's servant exclaimed. "We've come a long, long way." "All right," Naaman muttered. He went to the edge of the river and he stuck his big toe in. Nothing happened. "All the way in," ordered Naaman's servant. Naaman went all the way in and came out dripping wet. He counted with his big booming voice every time he went in the water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Naaman washed himself in the river 7 times, just like Elisha said to do. After the 7th time, Naaman looked down at his skin. It had worked. Naaman was shocked. Now he knew that God was amazing. He went home praising and thanking God. Wow. My goodness gracious. What do you think would happen if you had something like that and God healed you? I bet you would be praising God also, wouldn't you?